Yes, ma'am.
Mulai?
Kata Miss.
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to our third episode of Wisdom Within. We're live here from Universitas Advent Indonesia. It is one of private Christian universities in Indonesia. So if you're interested in knowing this university, we provide the link of our university website down below so that you can check it out. So we're so glad that we finally can launch the third episode of Wisdom Within. Wow, I cannot believe that we're already on the third episode of this program. And for those of you who are new to this channel, let me give you a brief of information of what Wisdom Within is all about. So Wisdom Within is actually a virtual talk show that we create to talk and share with young people out there everywhere about mental wellness or mental well-being, and to know more about the inner working of the minds by providing a series of intriguing topics so that those who watch and listen our episode can relate each topic to their life experiences. And well, anyway, we all know that we often struggles in life. And that's the reason why we need to start giving attention to our mental well-being. So in this platform that we share, we invite speakers from different places, both locally and internationally. We invite them because we want them to share their life philosophy, to share about their stories, about their thoughts, about their authentic experience on how they went through their life struggles. And we believe that every problem that we experience has wisdom within. So basically, this is what the program is all about. And I hope that those who watch every episode of our show can become our solid viewers. Your support means a lot to us. Okay, so now let's start this show, the third episode of Wisdom Within. I would like to invite all the speakers in. Okay, we have here our local speakers. We have Rimanuela, our local speakers with us here, Hannah Elizabeth Manulang. We have April, we have Lizda, and together with the local speakers, we have our guest speaker from the United States, Mr. Robert Henry. Hi, Mr. Robert. Hi, Robert. We're so thrilled to have you.
Debora, I'm so
Hi.
glad to be on the show.
Yeah, we're so thrilled to have you here, Robert. Yeah, thank you. I know it's not the best time of you because we have a very huge time difference. It's supposed to be 1 a.m. in your place. It's supposed to be your rest hour, but we took some of your time. So we really appreciate your efforts for giving your time to us, for being with us today on our third episode of Wisdom Within. Okay, so in the previous episode, I introduced all the speakers. But in this episode, I would like each speaker to introduce himself or herself to our viewers. So let me start with Rimanuela. Could you please introduce yourself to our viewers?
Hello everyone, I'm Rimanuela Calendonu. I'm a sophomore and I'm taking English as my major. I'm currently living in Bogor, the famous city known to be the resident of the President of Indonesia. I used to be an active member in a student organization at school called OSIS, but now I'm focusing myself on my study in college. Thank you.
Okay, so you're from Bogor. Okay, regards to your family there. Thank you. Next, April, could you please introduce yourself to our
Okay.
viewers?
Hi everyone. I'm April Debora Butar. I'm sophomore in English major, and this semester I'm the one of entrepreneur staff in my English department campus. And actually, I'm quite active in one leadership ministry organization, and also currently I've joined in singing choir where I could use my talent in singing with my friend happily in order to praise God and you know and also serve God. So that's all a little about myself. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, April. Nice to know you. Next, Hannah Elizabeth, could you please introduce yourself to our viewers?
Hello everyone, I'm Hannah Elizabeth. I'm sophomore and now living in Pekanbaru. I'm active in some organizations such as Persicle. In our Persicle, we do the down Sabbath morning, and I'm leadership ministry in organization. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You have a very good organization there. Next, Lisda, could you please introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, I am Lisda Fiagelesi Tumea. I'm from the Lampung. On my campus, I follow the leadership organization. This organization teaches us to be a leader, and I'm the student labor while studying to support my study. Thank you.
Okay, so you're a working student, supporting yourself, supporting your tuition fee. Is that what you meant, Lisda? You're a working student?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's nice to have you here. Okay, last we have here Mr. Robert. Could you please introduce yourself to our viewers?
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. I am Robert Henry. I live in California, and I am a pastor, and also I serve as a chaplain in the United States Air Force. And I have a lovely family, a wife, a daughter, and one that's on the way. We're expecting next month, actually.
Okay. Okay,
And I'm
regards to
glad
your
to be here with
family.
you. Thank you
we're
so much.
thrilled to have you, Robert. Okay, thank you, everyone. Okay, thank you for introducing yourselves. Now let's start this third episode. Okay, the topic that we choose for this episode is a changed heart, medicine of forgiveness. From the topic itself, it's so powerful. How much more the content that you will bring. So I believe that this episode is going to be so interesting. So like what I've mentioned before, we provide a series of intriguing topics, whereas every topic we present in each episode is actually interrelated. In the first episode, we talk about mental health and human connection. And this is actually the basis of the topic that follows. And in the second episode, we learned about the lower and the higher state of mind, giving us the secret on how we should actually control our mind in order to be mentally stable. So in this episode, we are going to go deeper into humans' emotions toward anger and forgiveness. So one of the triggers for us to make mistakes is when we are in the state of anger. When I'm angry at something or I'm angry at someone, I tend to make impulsive decision. in which at the end, I'll regret doing it. So now let's talk deeper about anger, how anger can become a killer. So April, could you please share with us your thoughts, ideas on how anger can actually become a killer to us? The time is yours.
Well, thank you. Honestly, I'm extremely proud to be here so I could speak with my topic. And I am responsible to speak about anger become a killer. I think this is such a great topic that we have to more about angry because we are human that often get angry whether twice in a day or twice in an hour, or I think many times in a day. So in this time, I do ask what happened when you get angry. Let let you think about the last few times you become really angry. So this one keep it in mind that your thought, feeling, behavior are all connected. You so when you get angry, you may feel your thoughts be unfocused or you get negative thinking probably or it may be stress like you are like people who under a lot of pressure tend to get angry more easily, which then your thoughts can affect your feelings. So when you get angry, your feelings is upset or sad exactly, or you are gonna be in the bad mood or or frustrated or powerless, like you are being invalidated or people are not respecting your feelings. Then your feeling can also affect your behavior. Well, when you get when you get angry, you may feel your behavior will be changed like you become a moody person. Sometimes you are good and sometimes you are bad, or you may become an unfriendly person or something like that. And also your behavior can affect your thoughts and how you feel. Since they are all related, uh, making one change to your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, it will be make a big difference. Moreover, you would like to just stop and to just stop your feet, wanted to scream and yell and feel like you are going to explode and also act impulsively or lose control. So after you know how you feel what happened when you get when you get angry, how about someone or something that makes you easily angry? Literally, people get angry with different things, right? So here, several common triggers for anger, such as first, losing your passion. This one is like when people or your friend make a fun of you. They would like say that you are stupid, you are ugly, you are bad, and you take it personally by the words. So it makes you angry easily. The second is feeling as if your opinion or efforts aren't appreciated. This one is like when you have a project and you put all your effort, all your best, and you hard work on it. However, someone ruin your project. Exactly, it also makes you angry at them. Another thing is injustice. In this case, you you did your work well and better than others, but people prefer to like others than yours, and and maybe you feel injustice because when you are blamed for something that you didn't do. Other causes of anger include memories of traumatic or enraging events, and worrying about personal problems. So as everyone has that traumatic, when people remember them at their bad memories, they suddenly become anger at them. Moreover, you also have unique anger trigger based on what you were taught to express for yourself, others, and the world around you. Your personal history fits your reaction to anger too. For example, you were not taught how to express your anger. So your frustration might simmer and make you miserable, or build up until you explode in anger outbursts. Anyway, I think we don't only get angry at someone or something, but also often get angry with at ourselves or angry at yourself. Am I right? Actually, anger at yourself is behind such feelings as impatience, envy, guilt, judgment, self-pity, low self-esteem, and more. Let's look at let's look at envy. When we envy someone we desire, we have what they have, whether it is love, money, material possessions, family, friends, a better job, etc. In this situation, we need to talk at ourselves. Is like, why don't we have what they have? Why don't we have a better job, a better relationship, material abundance, more friends, etc. So because of that, where the anger comes in. While it may look like we envy to other person, we're really angry at ourselves for not having what they have. Moreover, you angry at yourself because in a bad situation you cannot find, attract, or keep, or even believe in something else. Like you are angry because you are not doing what it takes to have what you want. And in this time, I wanna share a little about my experience in getting in in getting angry at myself. It was happened when I was senior high school, when I try my best but I don't succeed. It's like when I hard when I study hard, I keep studying all the day in order to get reward, but finally I didn't get it. So just like envy, I envy with my friend who deserve it. And at the time, I I thought at myself why I didn't get it. However, I have studied hard, but my friend deserve it. And at the time I also realized, and I thought maybe it was my destiny. Well, that's just my experience, and I think it it is normal happen to us when we get angry at ourselves or angry at something or someone, because angry is a normal attitude. Do you know? Uh, angry angry is angry is normal attitude, and actually it's a healthy emotion. In the fact, anger sends a warning signal to the brain that something is wrong, and also anger provides energy to the body to fix things. Getting angry provides benefits in the form of energy movement to take action. I and this time I have an example that angry is a normal attitude. Like people do get angry because they don't get what they expect. Like I said before, it seems like my experience. But why? Because people conflate myth and want with love. This has happened because to reject someone or something that we need or want by extension is to take away love from them, or that hits a very deep core of what we are as social creatures. However, it's of course not true because love stand in their own and life gets confusing and complicated at the time. And also, this condition more often causes a lot of burden on the mind, which leads to stress and depression. Even though angry is a normal attitude, is it good to let it all hang up? The answer is no. According to psychologists say that it's dangerous myth. Some people use this theory as license to hurt others. As research has found that letting it rip, anger actually escalate anger and aggression and does nothing to help you in resolving the situation. This this attitude should not be tolerant for a long time and or often feeling angry because it can it can affect to physical health. Moreover, when you get angry, it can make you become a killer for a person. So this time I come up with facts and truth why anger can become a killer for a person. First, when anger doesn't express constructively and healthily, it will cause hostility, hatred, and harmful acts of aggression. Uh, and actually, those all are feelings behavior that, as you know, feeling behavior are very damaging both physiologically and emotionally, right? They are also frequently in fight or may say they feel like hitting someone or something. Another fact that I've got based on the research by a foreign psychologist, he have asked more than once how common it is to feel like killing someone. Well, most of relate hot, white hot anger that so often accompanies this thought, especially during a painful relationship breakup or after a public humiliation. In fact, research suggests that the vast majority of adult men admit to having had at least one homicidal thought and women, although to a slightly lower degree aren't far behind. Moreover, 60% of teen boys also acknowledge at least one murderous fantasy, joined by about a third of teen girls. These homicidal thoughts tend to be short-lived and directly related to dispute. Once the person cools down, the murderous thoughts disappear. Anyway, after you know how why angry become a killer for a person, exactly anger can lead you to something when you are being aggressive or feeling. But they are not the same, as anger is a feeling and aggression and feelings are action. This action can lead to problems. Therefore, unexpressed anger can create other problems. It can lead to pathological expression of anger, such as passive-aggressive behavior, or personality that seems virtually cynical and hostile. Well, when people who are constantly putting others down and making cynical comments haven't learned how to express their anger. Not surprisingly, they are not likely to have many successful relationships. Well, everyone, I think that's all such important topic that we have to remind in our mind, and I hope by this topic can make you can get more information to take a control of your anger wisely. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, April, for such wonderful thoughts. You are giving us two sides of anger, the positive and the negative of anger. But the most dangerous is the negative one. So actually, you are giving us an awareness that out of anger, we tend to make huge mistakes. And when we make huge mistakes, we end up blaming ourselves for the mistakes that we made. And sometimes we ask ourselves, have I been wronged? Am I doing the right way? So I would like to invite our next speaker, Rimanuela. Could you give us your insights on this kind of situation where we tend to blame ourselves when we're making huge mistakes in life? The time is yours.
Well, my friend April has talked about anger. Anger becomes a killer, then it can become a regret. But is regret just from anger? The answer is on the subtopic that I bring. I think most of us have ever made decision, and we all know that making decision is always hard. What to eat, what to wear, what to prioritize at work, who to respond first. Each of us makes hundreds, if not thousands, of decisions each day. And we all know also that decision is not always right. Sometimes it will be wrong, even for a small thing, like food. And now I would like to share to you about my experience of food. You know, when I'm gonna eat, sometimes I feel confused. Like, should I choose fried chicken or should I choose vegetable? Then one time I choose chicken as my food. Then I feel regret because the chicken stuck in my teeth, and it disturbs me a lot. Then when I'm eating, I feel like, oh my goodness, that's my fault. Why I choose chicken? And you can see from my experience that we must choose wisely, even for a small thing, to generate joy in our life. And how you and I feel when we make right decision. When I make right decision, I will feel happy. And I think it's common feeling when we make right decision. I will feel happy because when I make decision, I'm struggled and always wondering about the result. So when the result of my decisions right, I'm gonna feel happy. And when I make right decision, I also will feel satisfied. I often feel satisfied because of the result of my decision brings joy and happiness into my life. Then last, proud. I will feel proud when the result of my decision that I've made is right. Why I feel proud? Because I already thought hard to make it. And like I've told before, that our decision is not always right. Sometimes it can be wrong. And how you and I feel when we make wrong decision. When I make decision, I often have expectation about the result of my decision. And when the result of my decision goes wrong, it will hurt me and make me disappointed. Then I also will feel guilty because usually, like in my experience, I often have two options when I make decision. And when I choose first option, then the result goes wrong. I will feel guilty, especially if the result of my decision has impact to other. And sometimes I will start to think like, I shouldn't choose this option. I shouldn't choose this decision. That's my fault. And at the end, I'm not only feeling guilty, but also regret. And sometimes it's hard for me to, and sometimes it's hard for me to accept my fault, my mistakes, or my wrong decision. Then, and I will become a play victim. But sometimes it's really hard also for us to know people who are playing victim or feeling guilty, even though playing victim and feeling guilty are totally different. So let's find out the difference between playing victim and feeling guilty. And let me share screen. Please give me some time to make it. Playing victim. A person with playing victim behavior firmly believes that all bad luck in their life is caused by people. They always have reasons to blame others and to avoid responsibility. Facing someone who believes themselves to be the internal victim of life can be exhausting because it involves negative energies and manipulative behavior. People who play victim frequently make excuses about why they couldn't get tasks done on time. If it all, and it's almost always someone else's fault. And seldom do they take responsibility and own up to their mistakes or failings. They are often insecure, explaining words or behaviors instead acknowledging an error, inaccuracy, or miscalculation. They frequently blame other people for how they feel. In short, playing victim is not good. And how about feeling guilty? Guilty describes a sense of regret or responsibility that relates to actions taken. People may feel guilt over things they actually did wrong, things they believe were their fault, or things they had no responsibility for. People tend to only feel guilty over actions they see as bad or wrong. And on a personal level, you can feel guilty about something you say, something you do, or something you think. And at social level, you can feel guilty when you realize that you have harmed someone in some way, whether that be mentally, emotionally, or physically. But feeling guilty after a misdeed is normal and can often be remedied by apologizing or taking steps to make up for whatever pain or offense have been caused. And this usually causes feelings of guilty to decrease. And yeah, we all know that every decision can't always bring joy and happiness. Sometimes we make mistakes also when we start to make decisions. When we make mistakes, especially when it becomes problem, we often feel anger, disappointed with ourselves, blaming ourselves, and more. And it's totally normal. But after all mistakes that we've done, should we feel wrong or should we admit our mistakes that we make? And I know that making mistakes can be painful. When we make mistakes, we may feel guilt or embarrassed, and it makes us struggle to make things right. Sometimes we may be tempted to ignore our mistakes, even blame others for our mistakes. And actually, it's important for us to feel wrong for our mistakes. When we feel wrong, it can bring benefit into our life. Mistakes are also bring opportunities to learn and to have deeper in relationship with others and ourselves. And this can lead to decreased ability to make good choices also. And when we make mistakes, then we are always trying to be all right all the time. And it's really stressful, slow progress, and cause procrastination. When we make mistakes, we also need to admit it, not just feel wrong. When we admit our mistakes, we make it, and it means that we are ready to be a better person. And like Bruce Rhodes says, that admitting and correcting mistakes does not make you look weak. It's actually make you look stronger. And so don't be afraid to admit your mistake, because it will make you look stronger than before. And there are many reasons for admitting our mistake. Admitting our mistake, it's make us better person, and people respect those who can admit mistake. And admitting our mistake, it enables us to build better relationship with other and allow us to take responsibility for our life. And when we make mistake, usually we feel regrets about education, relationship, health, career are common. And in the middle of our regret, there are pain and anger that will disturb us. But can we still have peace in middle when we are in regret of everything that we make? And how? Yes, we can have peace when we are in the middle of regret. And it's really important for us to have peace. And we can start to have peace with first forgive yourself. Too often we forget that we ought to forgive ourselves for mistakes that we have done. But learning how to forgive our mistakes are an essential step towards becoming a better person. And second, apologize. Many of us would feel that we ought to carry our regret. And actually, it's not unhealthy. And it's unhealthy and unhelpful for us. And it's better for us to apologize to people that we hurt by our mistakes. And for the last, be grateful. When we have mistake, regret, and more, it can be easily for us to forget about the things have gone right. It's really not good for us, because when we forget to be grateful, it will hard for us to have peace, and it just makes us sink deeper in regret. And for the last, I just want to share to you a reminder. Never regret a day in your life. Good days give happiness, bad days give experience, worst days give lessons, and best days give memories. So everything that happens in a single day, the good and the bad, has its own meaning. Never forget anything, and a mistake is normal. Through mistakes, we can learn so much more about life. And never blame yourself for making mistake, but instead learn from your mistake and do better. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Rima. That's a very great reminder you shared with us, to all our viewers here. So actually, Rima, you stated that it's actually important to feel wrong to feel wrong for the mistakes that we made. So it's like a reminder for us to make a good choice in the future. Well, talking about mistakes, it will lead us to a topic about forgiveness. You know, I remember a very famous maxim, to forgive, but not to forget. And we've been hearing this kind of maxim over and over. So, you know what? I experienced being on the stage where I couldn't forgive myself wherever I made mistakes. I was so hard on myself, and I kept instilling negative thoughts in my mind. And I found out that I became mentally unstable at that time. So, Hannah Elizabeth, could you please share with us why is it actually difficult for people to say sorry or to forgive themselves or to forgive others? Please share your thoughts with us, Hannah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity. This is a such privilege for me. A few minutes ago, my friend Emanuela presented about FI bring wrong. And now, the topic that I'll bring up is still related to it. It is about difficulty of forgiveness. Most of people may regret after doing bad to someone, and someone who get hurt may be difficult to give the forgiveness. Well, I realized this is not easy topic because the title is difficult, right? Now, everybody may have do wrong consciously and unconsciously. Some of them may regret it, and some may not. But for those who regret, they still have a pure sense of listening to God's voice. Otherwise, if they don't regret it, they never give or get forgiveness. Forgiveness is something difficult, and it is difficult to say sorry. Let me ask you a question. Why is it difficult to say sorry? I think say sorry is not difficult when you just say it, but it may be difficult if you mean it. Say sorry with all your heart can be the hardest thing because you need to humble yourself before someone. Let me do share screen. So, what is difficult to say sorry? First, say sorry mean without mean or guilt, and in doing so, we are also saying that we are ready to accept all the consequence and take responsibility. This means that we need to be ready to receive all the punishment. It is not easy, right? The second, saying sorry open up for blame and can cause your detriment. This is the hardest reason for everybody saying sorry. They don't only accept the punishment, but they also should be ready to deal with detriment. As a Christian, we know Zacchaeus. When he truly says sorry to himself before Jesus, he is ready to return back the money that he ever took from the Jews. We both know we both know that apologies are not supposed to be easy. We all make mistakes. Nobody is perfect. So what is difficult to say sorry is because sometimes people feel that initiating an apology is a sign of weakness. And sometimes it is the fear of rejection that make an apology so hard to say. So that's why most of people are difficult to apologize or to say sorry. In the end, making things right is why more important than being right. So everyone, remember, everybody make mistake, perhaps by wrong decision, but stop blaming yourself. First, if you any mistake, just be cool about it. It is a part of learning process. The second, learn from another mistake and the sure and shortest way. Third, be a good observer. Try to see your situation and third person that see where you went wrong. Fourth, give yourself plenty or option to choose from. While making any decision, try to call it different alternative. The last, based on your past experience and learning, select the best possible alternative. So stop blaming yourself. Why people difficult to say sorry? Holding grudges is also the reason of it. When you hold a grudges, you are recalling on past events and the negative emotion associated with it. And in fact, many people hold grudges deep on that can last a lifetime. Many are unable to let go of the anger they feel toward those who wronged them in the past. Being hurt by someone, particularly someone you love and trust, can cause anger, sadness, and confusion. If you allow negative feeling to crowd out positive feeling, you might find yourself slowed up by your own bitterness or sense injustice. This feeling causes us difficult to say sorry. And the bad news also is holding on to grudges can harm your health by acting as a chronic stressor. According to Angel Bittermer, a licensed psychotherapy at Thomas Fick Common Family Cancer Wellness at Piedmont, state that when we hold on to grudges and resentment, it is like drinking poison and expanding the other person to get sick. It causes us to carry negative. Tense energy is our biology. And holding grudges make us difficult to say sorry. It causes us irrationally blame ourselves, even another people. Bittermer also say sometimes we hold on to grudges because it gives us a sense of control that if we don't forget and advance, it won't even happen again. So say sorry is not needed. So everyone, by this lesson, we know that forgiveness is essential in life. First, forgiveness is for own growth and happiness. When you hold on to hurt, pain, resentment, and anger in harm us from that in harm on the offender. The second, forgiveness free us to live in the present, relieving the wrong that was done to us, keep us living in the past and missing today's beauty. The last, forgiveness allows us to move on without anger or contempt or seeking revenge. So that's all what I can share. Thank you for your listening.
Okay, thank you, Hannah. Very short but clear. You have explained to us about why is it so difficult for us to forgive ourselves or sometimes to forgive others. Now, it's clearly stated in your presentation that it's difficult for us to forgive ourselves because we don't want to humble ourselves, because we still hold grudges toward others. And therefore, it's so difficult to have this kind of forgiveness. Now, forgiving is actually not easy as we think. We should learn the process of opening the door of reconciliation. And our guest speaker here, Mr. Robert, is going to share his thoughts, stories on the process of opening the door of reconciliations. Okay, Mr. Robert, the time is yours.
All right. Well, fantastic. I'm so glad to be here with you guys. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. Well, so thankful for how the topic has been discussed already. It's been a wonderful discussion that we've been having. So I want to thank each of the other panelists that have contributed to the topic. The topic of forgiveness is a very important topic. And as I looked at the topic in preparation of this meeting that we have right now, I was just amazed that there's so much importance of forgiveness, and there's so much value to that it adds to our lives. So as earlier I mentioned, Ma'am Debora introduced us, and we actually introduced ourselves, shared that from Southern California. Actually, before I get into the topic, I do want to say that I spent a year at UNAI from 2013 to 2014, and I taught English there. And so saya mengerti sedikit-sedikit saja bahasa Indonesia. All right. And so I'm glad to present. Let me go ahead and pull up my PowerPoint as well. I'm going to put this down right here and pull up my PowerPoint. Awesome. Okay, so as you can see here, the topic of the results of reconciliation. Reconciliation when it comes to the topic of uh, forgiveness and how that works. So Selamat Sore, I know that this afternoon over there. As you can see here, when someone, well, just wanted to give you some sayings right away. Yeah, so it's kind of blocked on my screen, but the heaviest thing that you can carry is a grudge. The heaviest thing that you and I can carry is a grudge. Also, another saying when it comes to forgiveness is unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. I think these are really interesting quotes when it comes to the topic of forgiveness. When someone that you care about hurts you, as the other panelists mentioned, you can harbor anger, you can have resentment, you can have thoughts of revenge. You want to get that other person back, or you can embrace this topic we're talking about, forgiveness, and move forward in your life. So the reality is that each of us have been hurt by the actions or words of other people. Whether it was a parent that would criticize you and would belittle you when you were growing up, whether it was a colleague, or a friend, a classmate that would sabotage your project, whatever the case might have been. You may have been in a relationship where someone cheated on you, and that brought up anger and frustration and a need for forgiveness. Also, you may have experienced a traumatic life event. Could have been physically or emotionally abused. All of these things fall into this category where we've been harmed, we've been affected by by someone else. And so these different wounds, these different experiences that we have can leave us feeling with anger, as I mentioned, bitterness. We want to get even with the person who did that to us. But as you see here on the slide, if you don't practice forgiveness, you might be the one who pays the most in the end. And let me explain. I mean, we've heard about embracing forgiveness, and that you can, by embracing forgiveness, you embrace peace for yourself. You embrace hope. You embrace gratitude. You also embrace forgiveness. I'm sorry. You also embrace joy. And so, when you engage in forgiveness, it is something that is really healthy for your body. It allows you to have better physical, emotional, and spiritual health. So it's really important and really beneficial for each of us. Now, some of the other panelists also mentioned that forgiveness can mean different things to different people. In different cultures, forgiveness means a little different, but we all know that the general meaning of forgiveness is it involves a decision to let go of resentment and thoughts of revenge. So that's important to be aware of. I love this quote here by C.S. Lewis. He is a Christian author, and he says, "Forgiveness does not mean excusing. Forgiveness does not mean excusing. So forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting." I love how Ma'am Debora mentioned that you can forgive, but you don't have to forget. You just mentioned the maxim a moment ago about that. That is absolutely true. The harm that was done to you, you can forgive it, but you don't have to let that person back into your life. Forgiveness is something that will help you gain peace, will help you gain comfort, will help you continue to go on with your life and to be a healthy person. And so it's important to forgive and to let go of these challenges that you may have faced in your life and in mine as well. So this is I love this topic, and when we began talking about this, I remembered. I'm going to tell you a story in just a moment. But before I get there, I did want to list some of the health benefits that you and I get when we forgive. Believe it or not, when we forgive, we have better blood pressure. We have better mental health. We have less anxiety, less stress. We have less symptoms of depression, stronger immune system, improved heart health, improved self-esteem, healthier relationships. So this forgiveness is not just something. I know that this is a Christian school, a Seventh-day Adventist school, and we talk about forgiveness from the Bible. But believe it or not, outside of Christianity and outside of different religions, scientists are talking about forgiveness and the power and the benefits of forgiveness, and they're really finding that it is truly miraculous. And so there are people out there that don't have the Bible who are realizing the importance of forgiveness. But hey, from being at a Christian university, we know that forgiveness is really important. So these are some of the health benefits of saying, "I forgive you." Now, I want to tell you a story about a real life person. Many of you know who this person is here on the screen, Nelson Mandela. And he had a wonderful legacy of leadership, of forgiveness. When you talk about Nelson Mandela, you're really talking about forgiveness, because his life was about forgiveness and reconciliation. Nelson Mandela, he was one who fought against the apartheid, which was a system of white supremacy in South Africa. Now, under this apartheid, everyone who was inside of it was segregated into 4 categories. Either you were in the white or European category, you were black or colored, as they call it, or you were Indian or Asian. And so any of the categories that was not white, that means the black, the Indian, or Asian, they were considered second-class citizens. And they had no political power. They had laws that restricted all these people from every aspect of life. They had laws dictating where they can live, where they can work, where they can travel. They even had laws that restricted their education, so they couldn't have the best education or even the best health care. Imagine being in a country where you were considered a second-class citizen, and the job that you wanted to be, let's say you wanted to be a lawyer. Well, guess what? Being a second-class citizen, being a person of color, a person of Indian descent, a person of Asian or Indonesian descent, you couldn't become that because the law said, hey, only a white person can become this job. Imagine how that would hurt, this dream. You could never achieve your dream in life. This was what it was like. Some of the other apartheid laws included schooling. So oftentimes the people who the school that you wanted to go to, the one with the best teachers and the one that had the best classrooms, the best books and the best materials, they were for the whites as well. They were for the white students, and oftentimes the second class citizens, the other non-whites, would have classrooms and materials that were old and outdated, and their teachers were not often as educated, so they were set up to fail. Imagine living in a situation like that, where the school you wanted to go to, you couldn't go to because of the color of your skin. That must have been a hard life to live, and we still know that racism does exist in this world. But thank God that this apartheid system did come to an end. Nelson Mandela, he was one who rose up against apartheid, and he called upon all South Africans to join him in this battle, and it ended up in him going to prison. He was arrested. He was put in prison for 27 years of his life, and he was fighting the fight of freedom. That is what brought him to prison. And then even in prison, though, it's amazing. His story is so amazing. Mandela refused to give up the struggle for freedom, and he refused to give in to hate. And that's really key. He had some very terrible circumstances, terrible situations that he was in when he was in prison. I'll tell you one story about when he was in prison. Nelson Mandela, when he entered the prison there, the prison guards were treating all the prisoners like they were worthless, like they were animals. But Nelson Mandela knew that he had value, he had God-given value, he had God-given purpose. And so he treated himself and he treated others with respect and with dignity. And as he began to do that, he began to be respected by the other prisoners. The other prisoners looked up to him as a leader. The other prisoners looked up to him with respect. And when the prison guards began to see this, they began to look at Nelson Mandela and single him out to harm him and to use him in a negative way. So they said, hey, this is your leader. Well, guess what? We're going to beat up your leader. They would beat up Nelson Mandela. And in one instance, in one occasion, they had Nelson Mandela dig a hole in the ground, almost in the shape of a coffin that you would put a coffin of a dead body in there. They had him dig one of those, and then they said, lay down in the coffin. And when he laid down in the coffin, the guards did undespicable thing. They urinated on Nelson Mandela. It's unspeakable, unspeakable. And yet, Nelson Mandela's spirit was not broken. He continued to fight the fight of freedom. He continued not to have hate in his heart. He knew that he was fighting for something that was bigger, something that was better, and that was to have a better world, a world that there's freedom and justice and dignity. And he knew that if he put hate in his heart, he could not forgive these people for what they did for him. Now, I will say that even Nelson Mandela was released, but even before his release from prison in 1990, Mandela began negotiating with the government to end the apartheid. Nelson Mandela, but before he went to prison, I didn't mention he went to school, so he was a lawyer, and he was one of the people that was fighting against these unjust laws. And so while he was in prison, he was still writing and reading and negotiating to have an end to this apartheid. And ultimately, because of Nelson Mandela, he helped prevent a bloody civil war. And Mandela went on to become the country's first democratically elected president, which is amazing. You've heard stories from rags to riches. Well, this was one right here, from the prison all the way to the presidency of the country. And when we talk about forgiveness and reconciliation, the reason why his name comes up is because the amazing thing about Nelson Mandela is that at the end of his experience, he did not hold a grudge against the people that harmed him and mistreated him. It is completely amazing. I encourage you to look up YouTube videos or to get books on Nelson Mandela to read about his experience, because it's truly a fascinating one. Because at Nelson Mandela's presidential inauguration, when he was being sworn in to become the first African-American president, African president, first president of color in South Africa, he actually invited one of his former prison guards to his inauguration. Isn't that amazing? I think that is just fascinating, because here he was in a system that was designed to break his spirit. And yet, in the midst of that, he maintained his dignity, he maintained his respect. And in an act of reconciliation, saying, hey, I forgive you, he invited one of the prison guards to his presidential inauguration. And that's not the only thing he did. There's so many things you can read about that Nelson Mandela did. One of the other things was that he actually had dinner with one of the people who tried to put him to death. That sounds just as amazing as well. When Nelson Mandela was put in prison, there was a lawyer who was fighting for the death penalty for Nelson Mandela. And if he won, Nelson Mandela would have died and we would have never heard of him. But he lost the case. And when Nelson Mandela became president, he found out who the lawyer was. And he, in a gesture of reconciliation and forgiveness, he reached out to him and he had dinner with that man. Another remarkable story about Nelson Mandela. But there's still another story that really teaches about forgiveness, regardless of your religious background. The Gospels found in the New Testament, they teach on forgiveness. And as I have here on the screen here in Matthew 6, verse 14, for if you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. Wow. These are strong statements here coming from a Christian university where we study the Bible, where we teach the Bible. We know that forgiveness is important, but did you know that it's this important? That if God won't forgive us if we harbor unforgiveness against someone else. Can you believe that? So, yeah, this is an important reminder for us. But above all, I would say for us as believers in God, believers in Jesus Christ, Jesus's example is the number one example we should look to. And when Jesus laid on the cross, dying as an innocent man, innocent person, the Son of God, dying for you and me. This is what he said. He said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And here is Jesus dying on the cross. We talk about earlier, I said Nelson Mandela, but guess what? That pales into comparison. It is such a small comparison to what Jesus did and the forgiveness that he gave and allowed us to give. So Jesus is our ultimate example. So I just wanted to end on that note. And yeah, so I'll turn it back over to Ma'am Debora.
Okay. Wow, it's such a stimulating talk you shared, Robert. I wish I could have such good traits like Nelson Mandela. After what Nelson Mandela experienced, he didn't hold grudges to those who hurt him. He even forgave the people who did unspeakable treatment toward him. You know, what I obtained from your talk is that there is so much value in forgiveness, and we need to practice forgiveness. You know, in order to practice this forgiveness, we must embrace hope, gratitude, joy, so that it will give us, it will enlighten us to forgive others. And now it's getting clear for us on how to open the door of reconciliation. And it will gain great health benefits actually when we practice forgiveness. So thank you so much, Robert. It sounds so organic and sounds so simple. We are really blessed to hear what you have shared with us. Now, we come up with the conclusions of the topic, a change heart, medicine of forgiveness. And I would like to invite Lisa. Could you please share with us your thoughts about how we're supposed to live our lives?
Well, I'm going to continue or make a conclusion for also topic that have been delivered by the speaker before. Life is an adventure. Take it easy. Our life is full of adventure, right? So we should just want to think about one thing. Sometimes we are above and below, but it all is a process, which we cannot deny that our life will always be fine, but we also should give up on ourselves alone. Life, no matter how bad becomes, every life will not always be good. For life, we have to think about many things. We have to be able to find new things to try. Don't be satisfied with one thing. The more experience we get, the more lesson in our life. Our life is our choice that determines the direction. The revenge that is within us is also a choice, and we determine the good and the bad. Everything we do for ourselves is our own choice. So chance yourself to be better. With your own choice, the grade that is in yourself is not an advantage for you, but only become a churches that become a burden. So be smart in choosing choice in your life. We can come to terms with our past, but that doesn't mean it with other people as well. And to forgive other, we have to be able to forgive ourselves. Forgiving other may be trivial things, but it is a very difficult things directly. Maybe we have forgive, but Envy in your heart is hard to forget. Don't bother yourself. Make life as if you are adventurous. So just relax and enjoy every step of the way. And never humble ourselves. We must be able to make ourselves meaningful with harming others. Plan for ourselves to do it with hope. There are many hopes that exist in us. Even though we do many mistakes, use that hope to save yourself and do the best in life. In life, there are so many things that make it difficult for us to forgive, because the old adage says there are three things that are difficult to do, namely apologize, help, and thank you. Life will be beautiful if we always look from the positive side. Change our mindset, be always looking from the positive side. Our lives are full of mystery and surprise. Sometimes what we have planned does not necessarily happen. No human being life without mistake. Everything is not perfect, but nothing is impossible if we want to try. Life is full of surprise. Sometimes when we want does happen, but something we don't expect will happen, and it makes a mystery in our lives. That nothing is perfect in our life, but nothing is impossible if we try. Life is hard, so don't make it difficult anymore. Our life is very difficult. There are so many problems that always come without us wanting to. So don't create our others problems that make it even more difficult for us to enjoy life. I think that's all. Thank you and God bless us.
Okay, Lisa, thank you for giving the conclusions of all topics. Now I could understand why Nelson Mandela could bear or endure the pains he felt, because I think he considered life as an adventure. Because sometimes we never know what lies ahead of us. We just have to be easy on ourselves. Because sometimes being hard on ourselves will give us difficulty to have a change heart. And so I hope that after you all hear the topics, the thoughts and ideas, stories that have rendered by all the speakers, we can start practicing forgiveness so that we can have a change heart, because it is the medicine of forgiveness. Okay, thank you for all the speakers. Now we come up to a discussion section, and it's time for all the speakers to have a fun discussion on the topic. I would like to invite all the speakers. Mr. Robert, could you please turn on your camera, because it's live stream, so that our viewers can see your face. Yeah,
I'm here.
it's live stream. Okay, because a while ago you turned off your cam, and my team was so worried because we live stream. We live stream all the screen. We spotlight all the speakers here. So now we're going to have a discussion. Operator, could you please share the screen? I would like all the speakers, when we come up with discussion, let's share about our experience on the topic. So I will ask my team to share screen. I want all the speakers to read. Okay, let's just wait. Or should I just share here? Should I just share my screen? Hello, my team. Hello, Michelle, Jessica. Okay, I think they cannot share. I'll just share here from my screen here. Oh, right, everyone. Okay. As long as you refuse to forgive, your soul bears wounds that fester and grow into an infection that spreads. Hatred, anger, and the desire for revenge are poisons that can literally and figuratively kill you. Okay, for all the speakers, I would like to share your experience. Have you ever experienced refusing to forgive someone? I would like to start from Mr. Robert. Could you please share? Have you ever had this kind of experience when you were young? That you refuse to forgive others or to forgive yourself?
Yeah, this is a good question. I'm trying to think back to a time in my life that I did have an experience like that. That is a tough one. Come back to me. Come back to me.
Okay, I'll be back. Okay, how about you, Rimanuela? Have you ever had this kind of experience that you refuse to forgive yourself or forgive your friend, your others?
Yeah, I think I've ever had forgive myself, like in my study and on mid examination. Sometimes I feel lazy to study. Then when the exam came, then my grade was bad. I really regret why I don't study, and yeah, I try to forgive myself. I try to forgive myself and be better day by day.
Oh, but at the end you forgive yourself. But Rima, do you have you ever had an experience where you refuse to forgive someone? Have you ever had this kind of experience? You refuse. You just don't want to forgive that person, the person who hated you. No, you never had this kind of experience.
I think I have that experience.
Could you please share with us?
I have a sister. Then my sister and I sometimes we fought. Then like one day she hit me. Then it makes me angry, and I feel like this girl is so bad for me, but I try to forgive her, even though she wasn't say sorry to me, but I try to forgive her, and yeah, I think that's my experience.
Okay, thank you. You always have a very good ending of story. You end up forgiving the person. Okay, next, April. How about you? Have you ever had an experience where you refuse to forgive someone?
Well, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and it hurt you so much because you refuse to forgive yourself. Have you ever had this kind of experience in your life?
I don't think so because I think I'm quite patient person to forgive. Like when I was a child, my friend have made a fun of me, like say I'm fat, even though it's fact, but sometimes I take it personally. But I give them feedback in funny way. So I think I'm person easy to forgive my friends.
Okay, you have a very good personality then, April. You never had this kind of experience. Okay, I would like to proceed to Hannah Elizabeth Manulang. How about you? Is there something that you would like to share with us?
Okay, I think I don't have my experience, but for me, forgiving is never easy, but I have to push myself to forgive because I believe the forgive other is not just for their good, but for me myself too. If I never forgive, I will be surrounded by hatred and anger, and that thing could kill me. So I forgive others from myself so that I could live in peace.
Okay, so you never had this kind of experience as well. Okay, let me go to Lisda. How about you, Lisda? Do you have something to share with us about related to this statement?
Okay. I think if we keep hatred in our heart, it will be burden to ourselves. So we have to lower ourselves to fight our egos. But anger help us find our limits. I think it's all.
Okay, thank you. Uh, so young people, you're very kind. Yeah, you never had this kind of experience. You can easily practice forgiveness. Now, Robert, can I go back to you, Robert?
Yeah, absolutely.
Could you recall the
So
memory that you have?
yeah, I'd say that some of the times that I think back on when I had to refuse to forgive, they were back when I was younger. So like, I'd say that parents, for me, that was one that I had hard time forgiving. Maybe I wanted to go somewhere, or I wanted to do something, or um, my mom took something away from me. Whatever the case was, um, that then I would try to say, all right, well, I'm not going to forgive you. I'm going to harbor this grudge against you. And just like this quote said, I didn't feel good. I remember that it just didn't feel good. I feel, uh, pain in my chest, and it was hard, and ultimately I ended up giving them up. All of them, I ended up giving up because it really is hard. This quote is right. Yeah. So that's my experience.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's true. Everything what you said a while ago, Robert, is true. When I asked all of you, all the speakers, to share whether you had experience where you refused to forgive others or you refused to forgive yourself. Well, from all the sharing that you told, actually, you end up forgiving that person. You end up practicing forgiveness. The reason why we don't want to refuse to forgive is because we don't want to endure the pain in our life, because we don't want it to spread in our mind, because not forgiving others or not forgiving us, it can turn into poisons. So I really like this kind of statement. I really like this kind of statements, and I'm so uh, glad that we always practice forgiveness, even though it's hard, even though it's totally hard to forgive others and to forgive ourselves. Okay, well, this is the end of our discussion. Now let's proceed to the Q&A section. Okay, let me stop sharing the screen here. Okay, I received 3 questions from the chat box in our YouTube channel. Okay, I would like to ask Mr. Robert to answer this question. What if someone changed their minds to us because what? Oh, sorry. I'm trying to interpret the question first. What if someone changed their mind to us because we are angry at him? What should we do? Do you understand the question, Robert?
No, not yet. Can you try to repeat it one more time?
What if someone changed their minds? Someone changed their minds because we are angry at him. What should we do? How to?
Well, what I can say is that forgiveness is never for the other person. Forgiveness is for us. We can need to forgive someone that moved away from us, that passed away. And forgiveness, first and foremost, is for us to have peace, to get that burden, that grudge off of our chest. And even if the person doesn't change, even if the person keeps doing that, whatever that is, again, we don't have to forgive and forget. Definitely, we don't have to put ourselves in harm's way, but forgiveness is important for our health. So that's what I'll say.
So forgiveness is actually for ourselves, yeah?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so I hope the person who asks this kind of questions can be satisfied with the answers. Okay, next question is intended to April, related to your topic about anger, April. What is the impact of anger on our body? What happened to our body, I guess, when we got angry? I think this is what the question is about. Okay, what is your answer?
Okay, I think when we get angry, there are some impact on our body, such as your heart rate and your blood pressure increase, and also anger causes the change in your brain, uh, which which respond to lead to negative activities like throwing something and shouting. That's my answer.
Okay, now we have next question. Okay, I think this is for you also, April. It's about anger. Does anger have a positive aspect to us?
Okay, I think yes. Anger. What the question? The question?
Does anger have positive effect on us?
Yes, I think so. Because anger allows us to endure various situations. So when anger is expressed constructively and does not hurt others, it will give positive results, such as expressing important emotion and identify problems, and also motivating effective behaviors and something like that.
Okay, so it has positive aspect as well, yeah? Okay, this next question, okay, there are coming questions, yeah? Upcoming questions. Hi, Mr. Robert. Okay, this is for you, Robert. Hi, Mr. Robert. Is it possible to forgive people just by saying it, but inside our heart, we are still full of anger or hatred? Or within ourselves, we are still angry, but we say sorry to that person. Is it okay? Is it possible to forgive in that way? Okay, what is your answer regarding this? Like just by giving the statement, but it's still within yourself, the anger.
Yeah, sometimes we want to forgive and we say, I forgive you, but deep down we still don't let it go. And I'd say in those instances that you need to take some time just thinking and reflecting maybe writing down your emotions that helps so that you can connect your thoughts and your feelings together, and then writing it down can help you release that grudge or that burden. So yes, it is possible, and if that happens to you, you can you can try different ways to really forgive deep down in your heart.
Okay, thank you for the answers. Okay, we have the last questions. Okay, all the questions are intended to Mr. Robert and April. Actually, I think people are really enthusiastic in knowing more about anger and also about the process of forgiveness. Okay, the last question is for April, our speaker. How to deal with anger? That's the question. How to deal with anger?
Okay, how to deal with anger? I want to give the best way to deal with anger. Uh, the important is we have to take a control of anger wisely, such as to respond to anger more slowly and talk at ourselves to be to be more to be calmer than identify with anger. After that, you can slowly deal with your anger with a cooler, and also you can more express your feeling and thoughts. Maybe it's from me.
All right. Okay, thank you for all the speakers for giving your answers. So we are done with our Q&A session. Now we come up with the closing statement. I would like to invite all speakers to give your closing statement to our viewers, who watch our show in our YouTube channel, Divine Opus. Okay, first, I would like to invite April. Could you please share us your closing statement to our viewers?
Well, as my closing statement, uh, based on my topic about anger, so in this case, we have to be more patient and take control of our anger wisely. And I want to give you a simple reminder that here, no matter what angry you get, you always end up forgiving the people you love. Thank you.
Thank you. A very good closing statement. Next, Rimanuela, could you give your closing statement to our viewers?
It's okay to make mistake, but make sure that you learn from that and not repeating the same mistake, so that you won't have to regret anything in the future. And be careful in making decision and be true to yourself.
Okay, thank you. Hannah, give your closing statement, please.
My closing statement is, when we make the choice to forgive, we let go of the power the grudge has over us.
Okay, thank you. Lisa, could you give us your closing statement to our viewers?
Be humble and patently admit our fault to ourselves.
Thank you. Okay, for our guest speaker, Mr. Robert, could you give your closing statement to our viewers?
Yeah, so I'd say that when it comes to reconciliation, that it is possible. As I gave the illustration of Nelson Mandela, how he had terrible things happen to him, yet he learned to forgive. Also, whatever situation we face, whether it's small or big, we can also forgive and reconcile with those who have harmed us. It is possible, and it's healthy.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for all the closing statements that you have shared to all our viewers. Now I'll briefly recap on some important points that stated by the speakers. First, you need to control yourself when you are in a state of anger, because you can end up hurting yourself or making the wrong decision. And next, it is actually normal to feel wrong for the mistakes that we make because it will be a reminder for us to make a good choice. And the reasons why is it difficult for us to forgive ourselves or to forgive others are because we don't want to humble ourselves and we don't want to accept what lies ahead of us. So forgiving is not an excuse. It is something that we need to practice in order to open the door of reconciliation. So we need to be easy on ourselves and take time to learn about ourselves. So this is the recap of all of the topics of today's topic about a changed heart, medicine of forgiveness. Finally, we've come to the end of our show, the end of the third episode, and to all the speakers, I would like to personally thank you for your stimulating talks. Thank you for taking your time to speak to all our viewers about this topic. And especially to our guest speaker from United States, Mr. Robert Henry. We are deeply sorry for taking some of your rest hours. May God bless your endeavors, whatever you've planned in your life. And please kindly send our regards to your family, to your friends in the US, and we will pray for your wife because I heard that you're expecting the second child, the second born. Yeah, may God bless the period of the pregnancy. And to all our viewers, thank you so much for watching this episode. We invite you to watch the next episode that will be launched March 22nd, 2021. So thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all the speakers. Stay blessed and healthy. And to all our viewers, don't forget to subscribe, like our channel. Okay, bye, everyone. All right.